Well, you are watching Outnumbered, and we are glad that you're with us today. Voters in Virginia just kicked out House Majority Leader Eric Cantor. It is a big victory for the Tea Party. Cantor, 7 terms as the incumbent last night, lost to Virginia primary to Tea Party-backed economics professor David Brat. And there are so many questions now. How will this affect immigration in this country and the debate over that? Remember, Cantor was leaning toward amnesty for millions of illegal immigrants. What does this mean for the makeup of the Republican Party and Washington itself? Here's Eric Cantor and David Brat.
I know there's a lot of long faces here tonight, and it's disappointing, sure. But I believe in this country. I believe there's opportunity around the next corner for all of us.
The reason we won this campaign is there's just one reason, and that's because dollars do not vote. You do. This campaign was about just basic American values and virtues right from the beginning. And the basic premise is power belongs to the people, and that's what we're going to do.
I think some of those very people were online last night and on blogs, because I'm seeing jubilance across the nation among Tea Partiers. Is this the return of the Tea Party, as some of those blogs are suggesting, Jesse?
I mean, I think it might be. The Republicans need to coalesce with the Tea Party. We were just saying in the break, everyone was so shocked. We were like, Cantor lost? Lost what? I didn't even know there was a race. It was competitive at all. Like we said right there, I mean, I think this is all about amnesty. Cantor was pushing it hard, and this guy ran on an anti-amnesty platform. And it makes sense, because if you have hard times economically in this country and you have middle-class voters that are struggling to find work, you can't say, let's just open the floodgates to unskilled, uneducated, low-wage earning immigrants from the southern border to flood the zone and depress wages and compete. That's just not a winning message, and that's what's lost. And I think that's what you're going to see in November. You're going to see a very animated, activist Republican base get out strong and push this issue. Amnesty's dead.
I want to come back to immigration, but I want to hit the other thing that's kind of going on out there. And Kimberly, this was what was all over Twitter last night. Can we pop up one of the tweets that I got from reviewer Malcolm? No political position is for life. This was kind of a mark against the establishment in so many ways.
Yeah, I mean, this is, I think, an impactful moment for both sides. There's a lot to be learned and to be gained on the sides of Republicans to say, listen, even if you don't have the big cash, if you're big on ideas, you're going to be able to generate enthusiasm and get out your vote. So that's a game changer right there. And for the Democrats, now they're going to have something to marshal against, because they like to, get a little crazy about the Tea Party. So they're going to say, this is what's going to happen if you don't give me a donation. This is what's going to happen if you don't get out to vote. But that's what we saw. I mean, this was a big, significant moment.
56% of the
all
vote.
over, and all over Twitter, people and on the web saying stunning defeat, stunning upset.
This economics and ethics professor with a budget in the hundreds of thousands compared to millions of dollars for Eric Cantor. I mean, just a complete surprise for many folks. But you think about the way that he campaigned too. He was going around, he was knocking on doors. He would talk a lot about policy. In fact, he mentioned last night that the press made fun of him for talking about policy for a long stretch of 30 minutes at a time, rather than just using this flowery rhetoric. And they're going, you know what, maybe this is what America is hungry for, somebody who's actually going to get in there and change the way Washington works, and we need a political novice.
All right, so considering all of that, David Brat is still a name that particularly people outside of Virginia don't know. So as you go forward and you look at the Democrats running against him in November, I've seen that fundraising may be pretty easy to do if you can go against somebody that no one knows. But that's an interesting argument that Anna's making.
It's a Republican district. I think he's going to be strong. I think the momentum is behind him. I mean, like you said, if you looked at Twitter, people across the country were saying this is a tribute to the grassroots. This is what happens when establishment politics is no longer working. An average person who is basically a novice when it comes to politics can come out, can run for office. This guy ran as a conservative. Conservatives are hungry for people who talk like a conservative. Eric Cantor was not talking like a conservative. He was talking about immigration. He was very soft on immigration at a time when we have all of these photos coming out of children over at the border in these horrific conditions. The timing was not good for him, but he hasn't been a real advocate for conservatism over the years. He hasn't been someone that conservatives can look to and say, on spending, on Obamacare, this is a strong leader for us. This guy, very average guy, very relatable, very charismatic, came out and people identified with him and said, this guy may do it for us.
Really more about the message than the messenger, and I'm wondering if we'll see that across the country.
I think you will, because this is how Tea Party candidates can win. If you're highly educated, if you're articulate, if you don't talk about rape all the time, you're not a bomb thrower, you're not trying to light your hair on fire constantly, you can raise money and go door to door and get your point across. This guy was a Reagan conservative. Eric Cantor had become tied in with these corporate lobbyists.
He should call himself that and not just Tea Party. That might help.
That's right. I mean, look, if you look at the expenditures, okay, Eric Cantor spent $180,000 on steak dinners for his campaign. This guy spent $200,000 on his entire campaign.
Wow.
It just shows how,
he had support, though, Jesse, too, from like Lori Ingram and from Glenn Beck. A lot of
He did. Not everybody was surprised by this win, as Kimberly's alluding to. You know what? We'll pick it up again next time on immigration, because he is being touted as somebody, Eric Cantor, who tried to play both sides. Democrats are saying that today. That may have hurt him, but we'll save that for another day. Native American groups pulling out all the stops to get the Washington Redskins to change their name. Well, one tribe is airing this ad during last night's NBA Finals. Did you see it? Will it prove to be a game changer? Stay close.